Now, try to wrap your head around this. A country has a central bank, like most countries do, a bank that it legally and constitutionally owns. But the government cannot withdraw money from this bank because this bank is now controlled by a global financial body. Where do you think this is happening? I know the picture gives you a clue. Yes, it is Pakistan. The International Monetary Fund has deprived Pakistan of financial sovereignty, meaning the IMF has decided that Pakistan cannot withdraw money from its own state bank, the State Bank of Pakistan. The government cannot take money. It sounds a bit harsh, but it's well deserved. And we'll tell you why. First, the story. Islamabad recently went to the IMF with a proposal, a request rather, to keep taking loans from the Central Bank of Pakistan. Islamabad said it would take loans worth 2% of its GDP. It needs this money to run the country for the next fiscal year. How did the IMF respond? With a big fat no. It rejected the request simply because Pakistan already has debts to pay. Let me show you some numbers. These are estimates of the State Bank of Pakistan. The country's total external debt right now is a cosmic $116 billion. 116 billion. Out of these, it owes at least $7 billion to the IMF alone, $11 billion to Paris Club, 12 billion bonds to Eurobond and Sukuk, 17 billion to China, thanks to the CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, $33 billion to multilateral donors, and the remaining $42 billion to several other entities like the G20 and the OIC. This is Pakistan's external debt, $116 billion. This government is indebted to almost everyone who is willing to lend. And no, it cannot blame previous governments for the soaring debt. This is all Imran Khan's doing, a lot of it. What does he have to say about it? Listen to this.
जो मुल्क की सस्टेनेबिलिटी है वो एट स्टेक है. हम ऐसे चल ही नहीं सकते आगे. अब एक कर्जे ले लिए इतने पिछले 2008 से और 2018 के बीच में 4 गुना ज्यादा पाकिस्तान का कर्जा बढ़ा है. तो हम इस विशियस साइकिल में फंसे हुए हैं. ये टूटता ही एक तरह है अगर हम हमारी टैक्स कलेक्शन इससे बहुत हम तेजी से बढ़ाएं.
He says Pakistan's debt soared 4 times between 2008 and 2018. In other words, he is not to blame, he says. It happened before he took office. Now, here's something that might help the Prime Minister understand the crisis he's leading. This graph. Look at the graph. In 2017, when Nawaz Sharif was in power, Pakistan's external debt stood at $86 billion. In 2018, when Imran Khan came to power, it rose to $93 billion. And this after the Prime Minister promised to lift Pakistan from the shackles of financial slavery, as he put it. This is how he did it. In 2019, the debt shot up further to $100 billion. In 2020, $110 billion. And in 2021, as of November, it stands at $116 billion. This is Imran Khan's contribution, $30 billion of debt in just 4 years. Can he escape the blame? He's running a government that survives on borrowed money. It keeps borrowing from one country to pay another. It keeps borrowing from one institution to pay another. It's a never-ending cycle. What the IMF has done now is pull the brakes on it. It has categorically told Islamabad that no profits from the central bank's coffers will be transferred to the Pakistan government. It cannot draw from the bank until it achieves a desired cover for external debt. Has Pakistan agreed? Well, it has, but not without drama. Reports in the Pakistani media say that the government protested strongly. It is said to have reminded the IMF that it is constitutional right to borrow money from the State Bank of Pakistan. Constitutional right is what Pakistan is citing. The IMF was clear, such rights do not apply when you're neck deep in debt. So Islamabad had no choice but to give in. So what's it going to do now? Cost cutting. Pakistan plans to cut down its expenditure. It will raise taxes. People already suffering from soaring inflation will be taxed more. Income tax, sales tax, power tariffs, GST, regulatory duty. Pakistan is planning to increase all of these in order to pay back the IMF, which, by the way, posted something cryptic this evening. This picture of the sunset in Karachi, Pakistan's financial hub. IMF Pakistan's official handle posted this picture, a fitting metaphor, some would say, for the country. The sun is setting on Pakistan's economy. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.